Greetings and welcome to Star Trek Discovery Pod, a sometimes funny, we're trying to be smart podcast covering all things new and classic Trek. I am your acting captain, Myrriah Gossett. With me on the view screen, we have
Clyde Haynes. I really am interested in much more of a familiar old world. Can I get one of those? Can we get some of that?
Don't Like 'Em Strange or New.
No, don't. No.
And
your friendly Section 32 agent, Paul Satachet.
ooh, what are they doing in Section 32?
Oh, just admin.
Just
That's good. That's good.
admin support. It's so important.
You have to get your 594 signed, Kirk.
1099's coming at you from Section 32. Tonight we are reviewing and discussing the trailer for Strange New World Season 2. We're going to chat a little bit more about the upcoming Section 31 movie, although we don't have too many details. And of course, we are going to be talking about how to support our Trek writers during this WGA strike, because without them, we have nothing to watch.
We have no Trek to go on.
We have no Trek to go on, no journeys to see, no stars to explore.
Or familiar old worlds to visit.
Exactly. Paul, can you remind listeners where they can find the show, share it with friends, all of that good stuff?
Sure. I have been tasked to remind our listeners to subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. All links at StarTrekPod.co. And on the off chance that you love our content and would like to support us, consider joining our Patreon for just $2 per episode at patreon.com/StarTrekPod. I think that's the best I've ever done that.
You really,
I'm not gonna lie.
did it, Paul.
I'm a grown tribble now.
Aw, with the teeth and everything.
That's right.
And just an update on
Very
the
well done,
Patreon.
Paul.
Yes, I'm very
Thank you.
excited.
Thank you. I'm a person who needs praise.
An update on the Patreon. I finally got the login.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
I got it today,
We have
y'all.
$4, everyone.
Very
$4.
exciting. So there will be more posts over on the Patreon. You will see all of that starting up again. I apologize sincerely for the delay. I've been trying to get the logins, but unfortunately I could not guess our password without getting locked out. So I had to wait for someone else to give it to me.
Wait,
yeah.
was it Clyde Haynes as king?
No. Clyde Haynes is king 5123.
Yeah. I mean,
But Clyde,
that Patreon predates me. So
speaking of Clyde, can you tell folks how they can interact with us in the chat if they are watching the live stream?
Braille. Today we're all about the Braille. No,
Braille. Bring it
if
on.
you are in
Into
the
it.
lives, if you're in the chat, what we want you to do is to create a really nice picket sign and then just hold it up and we'll take a look at it now.
Actually,
Type
that's a fun
capital
prompt.
P.
What would be your WGA strike sign? What would you write on your sign? But continue.
That's a good
on.
Just type capital P, capital O, capital D, and we will take a look at your comment, your question, your thought. And in a moment, when we get to that special time of the night where we want to know your overall general thoughts of the trailer and all things Trek, then type capital H, capital F, capital HF in the chat, and we'll take a look at that as well.
Indeed. So I'm going to give you a moment to ponder because I'm going to give us all a challenge. Since we're talking about a trailer, right? This is a teaser. It's short. And in honor of the Webbies are next week, and they're all about a 5-word thank you speech. So I want you to come up with your 5-word hot freak, because I think it is indeed time for some. It's time for some hot freaks. Clyde, we'll start with you. What is your hot freak of this trailer?
Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
In the strike, love Trek.
In the strike? Like,
Yes.
Yes.
okay.
Have a resolve the strike.
Oh,
More Trek.
perfect. Paul,
So good, I can't wait.
you got it. That's fine.
Well, I contracted the cannot.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still, it's a win. I'm on fire here, everyone.
You're really doing it tonight, Paul.
Just pat on
Really,
the back.
really earning your keep as a Trek podcaster tonight.
There we go. There we go.
I think mine is funny. Music is great. Excited. It's not a sentence, but
Well, it's okay. You didn't say sentence.
exactly.
The thing is, like,
I just said
mine's also a palindrome. If I knew what palindrome meant.
I thought about doing a haiku, but
might need
decided
some more
syllables.
time.
The syllables. You could probably get syllables, but like, you know, this is not the haiku podcast that we normally go to. You know.
Yeah.
How about James Tiberius Kirk? Really though? How about that one?
We'll get back to that. That's not bad. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Mine might be if it was on the James Tiberius Kirk in Roots, a Roots store. He's in a Roots store.
So for me, I go like, not my Kirk! !
He's growing on me as a Kirk. He's growing on me. Let's see what we have. Some hot breaks from the chat. We've got Cheapy with summer fun will now commence. It is feeling very summer show.
Oh, Cheapy, that's good. I like that.
Show vibes into it.
Yeah, no, that's very good, Cheapy.
Hugh says, surprisingly large amount of Kirk.
Yeah, no.
Indeed. We'll see what else trickles in there. But yeah, let's go ahead and start breaking down this trailer. To me, this felt like a really lovely mashup of a lot of my favorite things from TOS, but with more humanity and humor, with like dashes and peppering of disco within it. You know, I'm hoping more morality moments, some commentary on our own timeline. Of course, those are all of my favorite things about Trek. And I love this whole cast. The whole cast are all like people I enjoy watching perform.
You know, the first time I watched the trailer, I was like, wow, I feel like I got a little bit of everybody. Did I see any Chapel?
There's a lot of Chapel and Mbenga.
Yeah, so I went back and when I watched it, you know, I think the second or third time, I was like, oh, there it is. I just, for whatever reason, it didn't jump out at me the first time, and the second time I was like, okay, so it does feel like we have the whole cast. I don't know. There's something about this series that feels home, like very familiar. It's one of those, like, I don't know how strange new it is, but it feels very, very. This is really the closest thing we've had to Trek that we know and love, right? Everything else has been very different. Picard was very different. Discovery was very different. Lower Decks has a very different tone and medium. Prodigy is focused on a completely different audience. But this feels like, I don't know, this feels like returning back to Trek as home.
Yeah, the other thing I noticed is very quickly, I mean, Una is the one giving us our voiceover for a large majority of this trailer, which to me means we obviously resolve her cliffhanger from last season fairly quickly. I was hoping maybe there'd be a little bit longer spent there, but I guess I have no clue as of yet. This could all be stuff from later in the season. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, it could be a great many things. Like, we don't know. But you know, statistically, it's not right. Statistically, they're rushing to shoot the rest of the episodes. Right?
Yeah, I was like, typically the trailers are always from like the first 2-3 episodes max.
Yeah,
maybe what I'll do is like flash forward 5 years, and now we're just 5 years later, and like it's already.
And we'll get like flashbacks to the trial.
Well, so I will say the thing that I don't know. I feel like sometimes you got to think about this from an art standpoint, and a human standpoint. It's like they went down a certain path last season, and I wonder if over the break they were like, "Oh man, we set that up, and we really need to unravel that a little bit. So can we just wrap that up and then get to the other stuff, and just kind of a minor change in direction?" Maybe they looked and realized the Una character was so important that doing something like they did with, you know, Spock and Discovery, where you have that character gone for half a season is just a bad move.
It's possible. Again, we have no idea. It's a trailer.
So we're talking about how it feels so familiar. And I think the way I describe it, because I was thinking about this, I was thinking about how this reminds me of like TOS, not even like next gen. Although like there is that aspect, like everyone has this like sense of fun about them.
It's a little
like
cheeky, right?
Yeah, the tone, and if you watch old Trek like TOS, like it all ends up with some like at the Kirk saying something from the chair that's like, ooh, Spock, you're a Vulcan, or like or
what a spot on impression, Paul.
I am James Tiberius to touch it, Kirk, whatever. Anyway, but like and in some ways it's all like a soap opera comedy kind of thing. Like Star Trek is just a space opera comedy. Like it's episodic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when I think of like TV shows of that era, like Heart to Heart, or I guess that would be 80s, but like of that era, like it was designed with the sense of, I guess the tone is the term is blue sky. Everything's gonna wind up okay at the end,
right?
And like Discovery and Picard, they're a little more emotional, realistic, psychologically realistic. Yeah. And so like oh, someone could die, and we're gonna be sad when they die.
I would say Hemmer, though, last season kind of proved to us that not all of our characters are safe, right?
Yeah, yes, but everyone's but in that way, like
it's like we know what core is safe. Mm-hmm. Right. Like we know Spock will always be safe. We know Pike will to a certain extent. We know, like, some of these characters.
I think like there's a term that I steal from like Tropic Thunder, which is aesthetic distance, and how close you are to the emotional realism of the character. And like you get to pick that in your show. And like, and we're sitting back and we're watching like a pleasant radio show. Like you could listen to TOS and it'd be fun because it's not. Whereas like I don't think you could listen to Discovery or Picard like on a radio, as opposed you might be able to do it on a podcast. But so like it feels a little more like fun radio showy to me, which is absolutely what it needs to be. I think it's so perfect, and the visuals are now go with it. They're so spectacular. Mm-hmm. Like it's hitting on all all dilithium crystals, man.
Yeah,
I'm going to agree with Paul, but probably not for the same reasons that he stated. I love it. Like I want it. I think when you look at some of the other stuff that we have, particularly around Discovery. We love Discovery, but Discovery was a very different show. It had a very different tone. It's a little bit darker. You never know what's going to happen. Like you have a tendency to lose characters. Even if you don't lose them to like they die, right? Like Tilly's gone and she's gone. There's the dynamic change. Paul used the word a little bit more realistic, especially emotional realistic. I think you're right. I just also look and go, you know what? It feels like the day and age that we're in. I have enough drama in my typical day. Like I do want a show where at the end, like, you know what? It's like the old 90s and early 2000s sitcoms. There's going to be a little drama in the middle, but at the end of the show, everything's going to work out. I want that. Like I kind of want that in my track.
It's interesting to watch like the trends, right, of television. Like we had such a rise of the anti-hero for so long and what is considered, right, like this peak, the golden age of television, our Mad Men's, our Breaking Bad, like all of that kind of stuff, right? And I think now we've seen this twist to shows that have a little bit more of that like fuzzy, warm feeling where you can root for more of these people on screen. I think of Ted Lasso is like a big one right now. I think that's why Schitt's Creek was so popular. It's these spaces that I mean, there's a big resurgence of the sitcom like Grand Crew and Abbott Elementary. Mm-hmm. great shows where the same thing, like, the core characters are going to be fine by the end of it, right? And you get to watch them be in complicated friendship dynamics and relationships and job stuff, right? But there's no peril, there's no there's no one brewing meth to save their family from their cancer diagnosis. There's no alcoholic father cheating on whatever wife number he's on and trying to save the day while his daughter goes through depression, on Mad Men. So I think it's interesting.
I think it's elevating or putting a spotlight on the heroic nature of humanity.
Yeah. And I think Discovery still does that well, right? Like, I don't think we have, now that like Lorca is, after season 1, I do think we don't have the anti-hero-ness in Discovery either. I think it is just a more emotional show, but I think Discovery to me is an interesting transition show, kind of between these two sort of schools of television that are popular at the moment.
Yeah, I think with Discovery, like the world is hard, whereas like when we look at Strange New Worlds, like the Federation is
the golden age of the Federation, right?
Exactly. Like so you're not dealing with a society in decline or rebuilding itself or like at a crossroads. You're hitting at its finest point. And I think right now the appetite for those who like this, like there's a real starvation, like you said, like Schitt's Creek or Ted Lasso. There's a dearth of, what's the word? Like, what's the word I'm looking for? It reminds.
I'll let you ponder. I was going to say, it is interesting though that like so many of the shows, I realized the other day, a lot of the shows
wholesomeness.
Yeah. I was like, a lot of the shows that I've been watching are typically middle-aged men going through midlife crises, but instead of being like totally terrible human beings, it's this focus on mental health and like family. Like, I've been watching the Big Door Prize, and you have Ted Lasso, and I was like, oh, this is an interest. And then Shrinking, like all of these shows, which are great. It was just like very interesting to me. And then we have Pike, who is going through I know the end of my life crisis, which is an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, like, you go, Clyde.
I was gonna say, some of that is just, I think it's part of our human nature. So I've gone back recently and been watching Stargate, the
SG-1,
all of it. So I've been watched SG-1, watched all of Atlantis, and believe it or not, a couple weeks ago I started watching SGU.
Well, if it means anything, which one's SGU?
Stargate Universe. So
which one's is that? The one with the ship?
The one with the ship.
Well, I've seen all of it.
Yes.
So I've seen everything.
But have you seen? Wait,
so
have y'all seen Stargate on Ice? Because I've not seen
Stargate on Ice. But I remember thinking, like, I've gone back and watched Stargate and Stargate Atlantis a couple times, and I've never rewatched SGU. And so I was like, well, why is it? So I'm halfway through the second season. They only had 2 seasons. And I'm like, why doesn't this hit quite like the others?
It's a bummer.
Well, it's a little bit, but it's also it's what we think of, like, in terms of what we think of leadership, right? The thing about SG-1 is that you've got this team that ultimately has this high leadership. They're SG-1. Everybody looks at them as this is the dream team. They're the best, right? And even as they reconfigure, they're a really strong team. You look at Atlantis, right? You have the best of the best. They're trying to make this work. They're doing everything that they need to do. You look at the leadership and you're like, man, I am rooting for them. With SGU, the leadership is dark and political and Machiavellian, and it's just kind of like, man, y'all all just really suck. And it's this sense of, part of what I look at is when I look at Pike is I want to get back to when I look at the captain and go like, man, that captain, that is the best leader possible. He's better than everybody else, and I'd follow him anywhere. Like, when I'm watching this, I want to believe that guy has it figured out, right? Or will figure it out, not just because of him, but because that team around him. And when I see that trailer, that is what evokes to me. As I'm looking at these different components, I'm like, man, that is a crackerjack team. Like that, they're sharp. And it just jumps out on the screen, and I'm like, sign me up to see that. Sign me up to see the, the best engineer, the best doctor, right? The best pilot, right? The best communications officer. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. And speaking of best engineer, we do have a new chief engineer this season, played by Kane, who I'm very excited about. She is a master class of performance, and she'll be playing our new chief engineer, Pela, Pelia, Pela. But I'm really excited. I'm excited to see what I feel like she's going to be a no nonsense type of engineer. Like, that's just the vibe.
Have you seen her in a role that's no nonsense?
Yes, but it's no nonsense, but there will be shenanigans. You know what I mean?
No nonsense, but shenanigans. You see
exactly.
how that's paradoxical, right?
Yes, but it makes sense to me.
That's right. There we go. There we go, everyone.
I'm excited about it. I did want to talk a little bit about, they seem to be peppering in this relationship between Kirk and Leon, and
sure.
To the point where Una says, "You're making me sweat," with like the vibes you're giving off, if that's the same smash cut. And I mean, we all know Kirk is definitely
not my Kirk.
I was gonna say a ladies' man, but truly it's not even just ladies. Kirk is a people person.
People is strong too.
Kirk is down to clown.
Yes.
Which I think I'm waiting for that to exude from this particular Kirk, right? Yeah, no, I get confidence, I get a little swagger, but I don't quite have the like flirt. I think it's also because like my current modern Kirk is Chris Pine, and
and
that's hard to live up to. It's hard to live up to.
First of all, Chris Pine has a ton of swag. Like he's
my number one Chris right there.
Charisma.
It's a good Chris.
He's the thing about it is, the minute that he showed up on screen, you kind of look like Kirk, and then you just go, yep. You're thinking, because here's the thing about Kirk. Kirk walks in, like the original Kirk walks into a bar. If you're with him, you're going, man, let me see how this plays out, because whatever woman he focuses in on, she doesn't stand a chance, or whatever entity he focuses in on doesn't stand a chance, because he's just got so much.
Because phasers are set to kill, baby.
Right?
They're set to stun. Stunning.
Like, he's just that's just the vibe he would bring. And
phasers set to slay.
Yeah, there you go. And this Kirk just doesn't. Here's the thing. When we talk about handsome mount, when we talk about Ethan Peck, when we talk about Ash Tyler, right?
Charisma.
Yeah, sure. Here's what I know. If I even begin to say anything, the chat goes crazy in defense of these hunky dreamboats. I have yet to see anyone come to the defense of this Kirk. Not one. No one's going, that's my Kirk. I love him. Oh. Right? I'm just saying.
I'm giving him some more room. We've only had like an episode and a half.
An episode and a trailer, right? That's all he had. Yeah. An episode and a trailer. It's not a fair thing. That said, like I have a theory why this Kirk is not giving me Kirk vibes. He's not funny. He doesn't have enough like Kirk. I
feel like they're trying to give us some of that with like the door when they're going into the store and
but you see like imagine Chris Pine saying that joke, right? Yeah, like
I know, but Chris
Pine
it's
so good, right?
Like, it's
so good.
Beautiful.
Even like Shatner, he goes like, I'm a spaceman.
I'm from space.
Like basically, he kind of strikes me like a vampire. If this Kirk would be like, his posture is very, very tall. He's always just very intense, and maybe that's a take on Kirk, but but he's not fun.
He's more Barkley than he is Riker to me. I'm sorry. He's just
damn. That's some phaser set.
How about this? How about this? He's more Murdoch than he is Face.
Yeah, that's like full spread torpedoes, man.
I'm just saying. Like he doesn't. So I'll look. Choopy says in the chat, well, we haven't seen very much of him, and I'm like, you know what? But Ash Tyler popped on the screen, and if we go back to the original few episodes of Discovery, I promise that you'll hear me in particular go, I don't know about this guy. He seems sus. And immediately it felt like I was attacked. Why are you talking about Ash Tyler? He's so dreamy. Like, I don't think you need to see much of him.
There's suspicious dreamy. There's like, ooh, you're dark and I know you're bad for me, but like I'm like excited about it, And then there's like charisma.
I just remember what it was like the first time Burnham and Ash Tyler kissed and how everybody went absolutely nuts. And I was like, this dude is sus. Like but he is a bad boy. Maybe that's what it is.
It's a bad boy.
Maybe this Kirk isn't enough. We haven't seen enough bad.
We need a little leather jacket moment, A
motorcycle.
Yeah. We need a motorcycle moment. We need Beastie Boys. We got the Postal Service in this trailer. Mm-hmm. We need a little Beastie Boys. I did want to point out we do see in this trailer Spock drinking with Klingons, and they are, I'd say, TNG Voyager era Klingons, Deep Space Nine era Klingons. Which I know there's a lot of chat about like what Klingons are supposed to look like in Star Trek, and here's my thing: people on Earth all look real different from each other. So why would Klingons all look exactly the same?
I don't know. That seems like, like you like, is there a word for a space racist? There's lore for this. Like, there's lore why,
Oh yeah.
So basically, because like I'm that guy. Like in Enterprise, Clyde's favorite. Like there's a
the Megatronic, is that it?
The Megatronic?
Klingons? Is that what it?
Well, look, what happened was like a bunch of augments, like the people who like do Khan, like they got released. They beat up some Klingons, and Klingons go like, "Oh, that's no good. So let's use augment DNA to make some Klingons." That became a virus, and it started infecting a bunch of Klingons, and all the Klingons that were affected turned out looking like humans. And so for the majority of like TOS era Star Trek, you had like, human looking Klingons because they were the children of, these people who were infected. But eventually that virus thing bred out and became back to the original looking Klingons as you see here. So if they were true to canon, this Klingon is probably a Klingon that comes from an uninfected Klingon.
So then what is your Discovery era Klingon?
Yeah, I got nothing for that. Like, that Discovery is hard for me when it comes to Klingon because they look so
different.
Yeah. Like, it was a choice that was made. But like I could also make like, all those Klingons like fell into lava and came out.
Or what if they're like the in between,
Sure. I could see that. Yeah.
Potential.
So yeah, like, or they could be, you can shave when you have like, I think in between season 1 and 2, they had, so like in season 1, they were all hairless.
Mm-hmm.
And in season 2, they had hair. And the way that was described is that, what you call it? When they go into battle, they shave all their hair off. That's how they described it, I believe.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Kane. I like in Trials and Tribulations, we don't discuss it with outsiders.
Exactly. That's the exact answer.
I think it's great. I like it. A couple of other things we see is Ahura has a crash landing somewhere on some sort of mission. So we'll see what happens there. We also get a couple of clips of my favorite, the Gorn. The Gorn are definitely back, and I'm very excited about it. One character I did notice was missing from the entire trailer was T'Pring, and I know like Spock and T'Pring are still together at this point. So and T'Pring seemed to play a pretty major role in the show last season, popping in, I think, in almost close to half the episodes. So we'll see what kind of goes on there.
Clyde, say it. What
you got, Clyde? Are you not interested in T'Pring? I think that actress is great though, and I like the dynamic. Yeah.
I felt like I need a little less of that. It felt like it was a lot.
Oh, you don't like relationships?
I love relationships. I like relationship drama a little less than my sci-fi. It just at the times it just felt like it was a little too much. Like it felt like it gave something to the story. So I don't want to deny that. How do I say this? Every scene that goes on between Spock and T'Pring typically means that there's one less scene of the ship doing something cool.
That's the most.
And we know where Clyde's.
That's the most Clyde statement I've heard in a long time.
We know where your loyalties lie. Chippy question: will we see Sybok? Thoughts?
I hope so, because Sybok in Star Trek V is like kind of this like ridiculous character that
I'm good. I love a good twirly mustache villain.
Yeah, and like to like flesh that out, I love it when something goes off the rails a bit, and you go okay, but then you go back and you make it cool, so that it really isn't off the rails. It's just you didn't have the context. So like Star Trek V is like arguably a not good movie. Arguably, I'm not saying that it isn't, but what does God need with a starship, right?
Indeed.
But I always thought it was like, I'm Sybok, and you go like, you couldn't come up with a better name than Sybok?
Maybe it's just a very fancy nickname.
Yeah, I thought that was like, damn, that's dopey. Oh well, I'm watching this anyway. I'm already in. Star Trek for life, right?
Already butts in seat.
I do want to say this, Myrriah. You said that the actress is amazing. She is. Like I thought that she.
Oh, we're back to T'Pring. Okay.
Just say I want to follow that before I get a bunch of angry emails. I think that she is absolutely an incredible, talented actor, and I mean, and the chemistry between her and Spock was great. I thought that was great. I just thought at times it was a little too much. Though I did like the dynamic between her, Chapel, and Spock. Like that was somewhat interesting. And look, I'm a rom-com guy, so I like some of that. It's just I think what I needed was more movement in it.
I did really enjoy the body swap episode, though. I thought that was a very fun episode with the
Freaky
two of
Friday.
them. Yeah,
that's not Freaky Friday. Is that Freaky Friday?
Yeah, it's Freaky Friday.
And 18,000 other renditions of the body swap episode.
Well, like Freaky Stardate, 24876.
Whatever day is Friday in the Sol system. I think, I mean, were kind of all my notes. It looks really fun. I thought the music was great. The music is always great. It looks, like you were saying, Clyde, it looks incredible. Like the special effects, the costumes, the sets, everything just looks amazing. And the other thing that we get to really look forward to is we get our Lower Decks Strange New Worlds crossover episode this season.
Oh, yeah.
So we get to see some IRL / animated / whatever they're going to do with Tawny Newsome and Jack Quaid. And I'm very excited about it.
Super, super cool.
Is this the moment where you're going to remind me that you got to see Tawny Newsome in person and I wasn't there?
I did meet Tawny Newsome in person. Yeah. And Michelle Hurd and Jerry Ryan.
Yep.
Like, where did you see that?
At Star Trek Day.
Oh.
Which is coming up again in September.
Oh, like Clyde, were you at Star Trek Day?
No, I was at a wedding.
Okay.
Stupid wedding.
anyway, hopefully we get invited back. Paramount, support the writers, give them money, and then let us come hang out with them.
I'm coming this time. If you invite me, I'll be there. I promise.
I did want to jump into, so we did finally get a Section 31 announcement last week. And I wanted to see if y'all had any fun theories, but just to go over the details.
I got one.
Ooh, okay. Shoot.
Peanut Hamper is going to be in it.
Oh, there you go. He did the Picard maneuver.
Peanut Hamper time.
The Clyde maneuver.
Listen.
The Clyde maneuver. I mean, what if Peanut Hamper is in the crossover episode? What if Peanut Hamper grabbed the portal device from Picard, opened up a rift in space, and caused our two universes to connect?
I'm going to conveniently be sick that week when the pod shows up.
I'm ready for Peanut Hamper to give us the crossover we deserve.
Figured I'd just jump out there before you sprung it on me and surprise me again.
You never know when it's coming. You never know. But no, so we do know Olatunde Onsunsame is going to be directing. It is an EPing, and then Craig Sweeney is now set to write the TV film extravaganza, and also EPing. I will say originally when it was announced as a show, it was supposed to be Bo Young Kim and Erica Lepolt were serving as co-showrunners. So I don't know. I hope in some capacity, if there's any story credits that they get, I hope something happens for them, because I do really enjoy their writing on Discovery. So I was sad to see them no longer attached in any of the press releases about this. Also with Michelle Yeoh at the helm, I thought she would be like, yeah, 2 women writing this would be dope, but that's just me. Any thoughts or theories? There's lots of stuff floating around. I've heard, I mean, it's Michelle Yeoh, so we know there's going to be fighting, right? Like incredible stunt performing. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I think they already have the script, right? They're going to shoot this starting this year. So I think that's already done. I think it's only a matter of, I mean, theoretically, like if the script is done, they could probably just go into production without, with the strike still in place. Theoretically.
Theoretically. I don't know if this crew would cross that picket line, though.
I'm hoping that this will be ultimately the finished product will be so good that they're enticed to do some type of spin-off into a show.
That could be interesting.
Right? Like, I get it. Pinning Michelle Yeoh down for a Section 31 show is going to be challenging. But maybe the movie is set to
bring
set
some
up
characters in.
Right? So that would be interesting to me, because I'm like, I'm definitely listen. I can't get enough of Trek, so.
Indeed. I'm excited for the Academy show. I know they had started writing that, and The Room was working on it, and the Legacy talk continues, and whether that will happen, I don't think that'll happen anytime soon, but I was trying to remember like what the full timeline was for us getting Strange New World, because it was essentially the fan response to Pike that kind of pushed that into momentum.
Into warp drive. Come on.
Into warp drive. Yeah, that's my bad. Right. I missed that. That was low hanging fruit. But I was trying. It felt like maybe a year and a half before we got anything. Really? We'll see.
Yeah, no. It's I mean, I imagine like at any given time there are a bunch of things in play.
Oh yeah, there's lots of like things in development forever. So.
And whatever happens as far as like culturally, they go, oh, this we can capitalize this on and Pike was a great Pike, and you go like, oh, we can capitalize on this.
Yeah,
whatever focus group that was that made it happen. Thank you for being.
Thank you,
good
survey takers.
Like thank you for your service. There you
go. Yeah, that's all we kind of know for now, but shouts to everyone working on it, and I hope everyone gets paid fairly. Speaking of which, we got to support our Trek writers in the WGA strike. They are not asking for unreasonable things. So I checked in with Carlos Cisco, who is a WGA captain and also a writer on Star Trek Discovery. And I was like, hey, we're fans. How do we support? We appreciate you. And one, he was really excited. And two, he said, if you live in Los Angeles, anyone can come and do the picket lines with folks. So if you want to go just like chat with disco writers, they've been hanging out at the Disney lot because it's in the Valley and it's close to where a lot of the writers live. They're like, anyone can come join in and show support and have a fun sign. And you can, he did say snacks, waters, treats are always encouraged and enjoyed. And he is on Twitter at Carlos Cisco. And he's happy to be a point of contact for anyone who wants to stop by. And then the other big thing he said is to support entertainmentcommunity.org, which is a fund for folks who work in the entertainment industry. He mentioned that, a lot of folks like PAs, other people who work in production because of the strikes and because of things going down are affected. And so is their income. And so it's a great time to give to this particular fund and help everybody out. So I'll leave entertainmentcommunity.org. We also retweeted it and put it out on our Twitter. So y'all can check that there. But yeah, support the writers, y'all.
It's interesting. I had to run by the grocery store today, and on my way to my preferred grocery store here in the Valley, I drove by the Universal Studios lot and saw them picketing, and I was like, oh, look, there's everybody, and was, honking and everything like that. But yeah, that would be maybe I will drop off some water and stuff like that, some snacks.
Yeah. So support the writers. It's tough out there. Streaming changed the game in a big way, and not in a way that put money in more creative people's pockets, unfortunately. Yeah.
You know that like ChatGPT, like another thing that they talk about is like AI in writing. It's hard, like, and ultimately, like this is how Peanut Hamper started.
Indeed. So if you don't want Peanut Hamper writing your Star Trek scripts, you need to support the WGA. I'm gonna, if someone goes to, can someone please make a "This is Peanut Hamper's fault" sign, please, for me?
there we go.
I would love that. It would be really, really fun to see that out there. But yeah, they said just retweeting and sharing people's stuff, making sure no one's spreading false information, check in with actual people from the WGA before you retweet anything, because there's definitely a lot of rumors going on. Yeah, I think that's it for now, y'all. We don't have a lot else Trek-wise until Strange New World starts, but on Thursday, May 18th, Dr. Aaron McDonald and Jesse Gender are going to come onto the stream and chat with us. We're really excited to have them. They are working on a sci-fi short film, so we're going to chat with them about their work on that, and then also just generally nerd out about Star Trek and science stuff. So I think it's going to be a good time. Anything y'all want to plug or promote?
Do I want to plug or promote? No. Not my Kirk.
Hashtag not Paul's Kirk. Specifically not Paul's Kirk. Not just not my Kirk.
Here's the thing. And I love Shaw. Like how down
the leather jacket, Paul. He just needs the leather jacket, and I think you'd like him.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not my Kirk. Like, anyway, Clyde. Pew pew.
All I'll say is, when we have breaks like this, it's a great time to be a part of the Patreon community, because we're still doing watch-alongs. I pop in here and there when I can. There was even a time where we were doing a late night Thursday night SG1 watch-along. I might bring those back in the break. So if you're looking for Star Trek community, then come hang out in our Patreon community.
Clyde, who's your favorite SG1 character?
Tilk. Duh.
Is it duh? Is it duh?
Yeah. I mean, Tilk is he's the man. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a Jack O'Neill, but Tilk by far.
When did Stargate film?
Oh man, it was like the movie. Let's take a quick look.
90s. Okay. The first episode came out in 97. I wonder when the movie filmed.
I feel like it's 92.
Let's see.
That's my guess. 92.
Maybe. Okay. I was like, my fun fact, my mom used to do craft services for a lot of productions in Vancouver, and I couldn't remember if Stargate was. I know she did MacGyver, but I couldn't remember if she did Stargate.
Oh, MacGyver. That's good. That's good.
94.
94.
Okay.
94
I think
was
we
the
were-
original. Yeah.
We weren't in Vancouver anymore.
Who's
But
my favorite? Who's my favorite Stargate character?
this is a Stargate podcast.
I
now.
mean, like we're just camping a little bit here. There's a little extra.
A little bonus
Who
moment
is
here.
my favorite Stargate character?
Hmm.
I think it's Samantha Carter.
I mean, a lot of people.
Because I support women.
I mean,
Mine's Anubis.
There we go.
While I do love women, probably quite a bit. No, I think I also like. Believe it or not, I thought Atlantis was really good.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. Like my favorite character in Atlantis, Todd.
I liked John Shepard quite a bit, but also from Atlantis. But at the end of the day, the coolest Stargate character ever was probably Jason Momoa. But that has less to do with Stargate and the fact that Jason Momoa is just
Became Jason Momoa.
I mean, he's one of the coolest dudes on the planet. So, like, he's in that list of if I woke up and something happened and I looked like Jason Momoa, I would not try and fix it. Like, I would be like, hey, it's a good day. It's a good day to be Jason Momoa. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. I
Indeed.
mean, if you're into that.
Tall and dreamy? Yes,
Oh,
please.
With
the washboard abs? Yeah, I'll take that. And I'll take a little Sterling K. Brown, too.
Yeah, Choopy, Jason Momoa is in, like, the second season of... Wait, is he... Yeah, second or third season of... second, right?
Yeah,
Of Stargate Atlantis, right?
Yeah, Atlantis.
Yep.
And he has a gun. He has
Whoa.
he's the only one with the laser gun. And it's a
Pew,
pretty
pew.
cool... Pew, pew, that's right.
I was just going to promote. I'm working a live storytelling show in Los Angeles on Friday, May 12th for Mother's Day. It's called Don't Tell My Mother. It's true stories you'd never want your mom to tell, or never want your mom to know, rather, told by famous people. So we've got Heather Dubrow from Real Housewives of Orange County, Isabel Gomez from One Day at a Time, Judy Carter, who's a great stand-up comedian, and Jared Goldstein from The Unicorn. And also music by Ezra and the Pussy Boys. It's going to be a really good time, and you should buy tickets. It's at Dynasty Typewriter, and it's on Friday, May 12th. So come say hi and hang out with me in person. Going to be a good time. Me.
Welcome back to LA then.
Yeah, I'll be back all for like 10 days. It's going to be exciting. I think that's it, y'all. We'll see you back here on May 18th for our stream with Dr. Aaron McDonald and with Jesse Gender. So get your questions in. If you're in the Patreon, let us know what you want us to chat about, or you can tweet at us if you have questions for them, specifically anything to do with science, because Aaron is the science consultant for all of Star Trek. So she can talk about anything that has been on the air. So anything Picard related. It's going to be a really good time. You can rate and review the podcast on Apple. Visit StarTrekPod.co to find links to everywhere you can find our podcast and the live stream and our Patreon. Clyde, where can people find us on Twitter?
At Star Trek Pod. Just come on down and hang out with us on the Twitter space. Shout out to Karen who runs the Twitter. Karen, thank you.
We do appreciate you so much, Karen. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye. I wonder how many times your